XOXO, got the girl. Pose. Hi loves, what's up? It's me, Audra. Welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, I'm not sure how you got here, but certainly I'm glad you came. And if you are new here, well, you're in for a treat. All right. If you enjoy chaotic, frenetic energy, you have certainly hit the right place. There's also these other things, and I think that you should go ahead and give this a subscribe. Now, if you watch this video and you hate it, just like unsubscribe it. But I am looking forward to just having like a chatty video whilst I put on some new makeup, some old makeup. We're just gonna chat, we're gonna have a good time. I think what I should probably do is just insert shameless plugs here, and then that way that's handled and we can move on. We're just gonna go ahead and get started. This is gonna be a commentary video. For those of you who are new here, it's difficult for me to talk without having something to do. And so that is why we're gonna put makeup on our faucets and we're going to talk. And today I'm gonna talk about something that I find just fascinating on multiple levels. And if you are my age, which I am going to be 41 in April, then you'll remember this guy.
I am mystery. Hi. I'm gonna give you a hug, but don't expect much of a great conversation. You're a friend and I like each other. Are you all right with that?
You're so sweet. Oh, thank you.
Say hi, be nice. We're surrounded by love tonight.
Let the game begin.
This is decades old stuff, but I remember when this came around and what a strange concept it was that there would be a pickup artist, right? That would teach other men how to, and this is gonna get super hetero and I'm super sorry, but they would teach other men how to date women, which even then didn't exactly make sense, but makes even less sense in 2021. I don't understand why in 2021 a straight man is getting advice from another straight man on how to pick up women. Does anybody else see the problem? Does anybody, like, is it just me? Is it just me? Because I feel like, you know, maybe it's just me, but like, maybe it's not just me. But does it, it just feels a lot like asking the man who does road construction, very good profession by the way, to also like tell you how to build your house. Like, yeah, they know how to construct things, but like, it's not the thing that you're trying to construct. You know what I mean? Like, it's adjacent, but like not the same. And so I guess, just don't understand why there aren't more women. I mean, I know why. It's obviously the patriarchy, and I know there's gonna be the He-Man woman haters that are gonna show up here and like lose their whole shit, being, you know, probably not even watch the video and throw a fit. Here's the thing that there's several things that I don't understand about this, because like the old school way, I mean, it still exists today. It's making its rounds on TikTok, right? But there's something odd to me about going to men, especially a lot of these men who seem to be single. Like, a few of them are in relationships, but a lot of these men are single. And I'm just like, sir, what are you teaching this man about how to get a woman? I really, like, sincerely, I want to know. I really want to know. Like, I want to understand what it is that you're teaching this man, because from where I'm standing, like, if you go all the way back to like the weirdness that was pickup artistry, especially on television, there was definitely this common theme of being manipulative, lying, like not exactly lying, but not telling the truth either. And I guess my question always comes down to like the final thing. Is it just to get laid? Like, is that the reason? Because here's the thing. There are entire lay dollar beans. There are non-binary femmes, non-binary people. There are gay men who would all have a better understanding of women as people who would be able to help in that regard. Do you know what I mean? Like, they would all have a far better understanding of women and how they work because they're humans, and be able to, like, whether or not you wanted a meaningful relationship or to just get laid, I feel like these folks would be able to help you far better than another man. And this is why I just, every time I say it, and I will keep saying it, I don't care if I say it 47 times in this video, but the patriarchy has done something so miraculous that it has convinced poor, desperate, lonely men that only another man can help them get a woman. It doesn't make any sense. And here's the thing that I'm going to say. I would never make fun of somebody who was trying to find ways to enter the dating world because they were having a hard time. There's no reason to make fun of somebody for that. Not everybody is like a Lothario. Not everybody's smooth. Not everybody is blessed with like a sexy voice or beautiful eyes or good conversational skills. And that's okay. I think being able to seek out someone who can help you with that is fine, right? That makes perfect sense. I just don't understand the point. Like, if the point is to get laid, manipulation isn't it. I feel like a lot of these techniques are designed to like turn people into something they're not. And if you haven't seen some of the resurgence of this shit on TikTok, like the negging, which if you don't know what negging is essentially like backwards complimenting somebody. And that's supposed to make you seem interesting and intriguing. But what it really does for a lot of people is just be like, what the hell's wrong with you? Now, I know there's, you know, we can all argue over whether or not that original show on VH1, those people were actresses. We can argue on the validity of that all day long. The point is, I have never in my life had someone backhand compliment me and think like,
oh my gosh, I should totally sleep with them.
Like, ever. And this is the kind of stuff, like, I might be pan. I mean, I am pan, but it's leading into a sentence, which is, I might be pan, but I'm done dating straight men. That's right, you heard me. It's because of shit like this. Honestly, the way that the men are so fragile, their egos cannot handle being told no, and honestly, my general fear of them, let's get real, like my general fear of straight men and their tendency towards violence if what they want or need isn't met is just more than I'm willing to engage in anymore. And let me just bring you in a little bit closer. Shall I? Yes, I shall. That's better. So sorry. This is gonna be some intense lighting and I'm super sorry, but I'm like kind of fucking around with things. I'm gonna fix it in a minute. Just give me a second. Oh. Ew. Just give me a second, I'll fix that. Like, not this second. I gotta finish doing this part, otherwise, where will we be? Anyway, and then I think about like the ways in which they're trying to get these men to change, right? Like, basically they do the equivalent of what I hate in movies, especially for female characters, is
it's a makeover!
And it's like, this is why I think it's so important that there's women involved in this, because here's the thing that's weird. Again, we are not in any way, and I am not in any way, making fun of someone for having the self-awareness to understand that they might need some help in figuring out how to communicate with not even just other women, but other people in general. Like, they just need some assistance in that department. And I understand that. That totally makes sense. And the fact that they have, you know, the self-awareness to say like, hey, I can't do this by myself. Also, hella excellent, you know? Do you, be a self-aware king. But when it comes to pretending to be someone you're not, I just don't understand that mentality. Like, I don't understand how the men who say things like, all women are money-grubbing whores, right? They say that, and yet they dress like they have money. Does that make sense? Right? Because like they'll tell them in these makeovers, like, you need to look successful. And it's like, listen, I am by no means saying that if you work at Burger King, you should come to the date in your Burger King outfit. However, I am going to say it seems odd that if you don't have money, you are dressing like you do to attract a money-hungry whore. Does that even make sense? Like, think this through. You tell people all day and all night that all women are money-hungry whores and all they want from you is money. And I understand the sentiment, right? I can understand some people feeling that way, especially with the way that television portrays, you know, women in general, and that's a different conversation. So I get it, but why on Hecate's earth would you, for any reason, dress in such a way that that's what you would attract? Does that make sense? Like, why would you want a good quality woman by dressing up in such a way that she is going to think that you are successful if you are not successful? I'm not saying you're not successful, but maybe you're just not as successful as you're trying to portray. I don't understand why you wouldn't just dress for the date the way that you normally would dress. I don't understand why you wouldn't go on said date to a place that like makes sense for y'all. Do you know what I mean? Like, why are you doing all of these strange maneuvers that are making like everyone uncomfortable? On top of that, if you were to consult Les Dalabines, which I don't think that you can, not for any other reason than any Les Dalabine I know is not going to willfully contribute to helping straight men do anything. One of the first things a woman or another, you know, like would tell you is like, be yourself. Like, honestly, this idea when people say like, oh, just be yourself. And you're like, what if my self is awkward? Then be that self. Be awkward. Because let's get real. A good chunk of the issues with dating in general is this idea that we have to kind of wander around and pretend to be something we are not. You know, I feel like a lot of women have started pushing themselves out of that boundary that persists, but I feel like men have been stunted, and some of that's their own doing. Some of that is other women with internalized misogyny who refuse to allow men to grow and change and become sensitive, caring creatures like they want to be, and instead insist on embarrassing them regarding their manhood and being like, whatever happened to a real man? Men are real. Like, there's no such thing as like a real man. Like, I don't even like using that phrase moving forward. So it just doesn't make sense to me that you would be like doing the very things. Like, if you feel like the only way to get a woman to look at you is to dress in a way that isn't actually you, to buy a car that you can't really afford just so that you can have the appearance and trappings of money or wealth, like, what kind of person do you think you're gonna attract? Again, this goes back to like how it's so weird, the difference between what men think we want and what we actually want. And this is like why there's this problem in my head for why in the hell are y'all listening to men give you dating advice? The majority of these men only know what they think that women want. One of the common negging techniques is often something regarding a woman's weight. Again, I told you it was gonna be super hetero, and I'm super sorry, but you know, the straights are always at it. And in my TikTok knowledge, one of the things I've been learning is like, and finding so funny, which I always thought was the case, but now I'm finding like, yes, we were right all that time ago, is that like a lot of these things men are doing for the acceptance and approval of other men. So it's like, I feel like a lot of these pickup artists, their goal is to help a guy get laid, not necessarily like find a meaningful relationship, which that's a whole other thing. Like, what in the fuck is wrong with honesty? Why wouldn't you literally just tell someone like, hey, I just want to have sex with you. that is going to be fun for me, and I would like for it to be fun for you. Would you also like to engage in sex that doesn't end in a relationship? Now, I know that that was a lot of words, but it feels like we have to put it in those terms. Otherwise, whew, child, they think we're trying to marry them. The fact that you can't even be honest enough with another person about your intentions and instead work to lie and manipulate. And as this guy, whose name I can't remember, says,
I'm going to pick up a girl in a bar, all right? So I have a goal in mind. And the goal is sort of, the girl is irrelevant to the goal insofar as she could be another girl. So it's a psychopathic goal in some ways.
it just seems like such an odd thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a simple thing, but it's been made odd by the fact that you literally just couldn't be honest. You couldn't just tell the truth. And so instead led someone on in this like weird path. And you did it because these dating coaches or whatever, not the good ones, you know what I'm talking about, the weirdos that lurk around trying to tell you, like, comparing women to objects like cars, like, ugh, you want to test drive the car. Like, let's stop comparing people, but specifically, let's stop comparing women to inanimate objects. That shit is weird as fuck, number one, because like trying to compare a human being to an automobile just says a lot about your personal development, and it's not good. We're gonna see how this works out. And so I guess I just look at this as like, what do you gain? Especially these ones who are just like, oh, you've gotta, you know, break her down her resistance. You've got to have answers for her no's. Like, this just is very weird and manipulative behavior. And I just can't imagine wanting to be with somebody for a long period of time who is like this. And the thing is, if like negging is the way that you think that you can speak to women and get them, and maybe sometimes it does work, because oftentimes many people, not just women, but people in general, have insecurities and whatnot that you happen to be playing upon that day. And I guess if your idea is like, if I hurt their feelings enough and they're insecure, then they will sleep with me. My question is like, what kind of person are you that that's who you want? Like, if you're talking about this being a self-help thing and getting better about who you are in life, that ain't it. Now, again, please keep in mind, I am not speaking to those who are actually out in these streets working on self-improvement, trying to find ways in which to be not only good at speaking to women, but good at speaking to other people in general. Like, I find myself oftentimes in situations where it's hard for me to relate to other people in conversation. Sometimes I get so excited by something that I'm thinking about that I just overwhelm and bulldoze somebody with that conversation, and they're just like kind enough to sit there and listen to me rant for 45 minutes about whatever the fuck it is I'm talking about at that point in time. But that doesn't bode well for like a deep, meaningful relationship with another human being, you know, like with a romantic partnership. I mean, I feel like because of this, and somebody else did a very good video, which I'm going to link that, but they did this video essentially talking about how pickup artists have ruined dating, and I actually agree. Because I am just kind of, I don't know, what I would say is,
what I'm so ineloquently trying to get at is that pickup artists have ruined dating, and that the techniques they are using are often involving deceit and manipulation, which has an underlying issue of not viewing women as autonomous creatures and people who can and will make their own decisions. And in a lot of ways, teaching these vulnerable men how to manipulate women into situations that probably you don't want to do, like you really don't want to do, and are going to end up making you feel lonelier at the end, because who you portrayed and who you pretended to be is not who you actually are, and therefore you did obtain the goal of meeting and or talking to a woman, or also sleeping with a woman, but keeping them might not be something that you were able to do. And if that is something that you are aiming towards as your end goal, then a lot of these pickup artists are just not for you. Okay, back to the video.
I think that if you need to work on yourself, fine, do that. But don't do it because, specifically to get a partner. Because I think if you want a deep, meaningful connection with somebody, then you're going to, like I said before, have to work on yourself as a human being. You're going to have to take stock of like your belief systems and what you want out of life, and, you know, stop saying things like, what do you bring to the table? Because baby, my table is fine. And we really need to stop using that euphemism, because like, I don't want you to bring anything to my table. I just want you to have your own fucking table. Do you see what I'm saying? You have a table and it's nice and it's on your side, and then I have a table. And neither one of us has to bring things, because we're both complete whole human beings that don't require the other person to constantly be putting shit on my table that's already cluttered with my shit. Okay. Rant over. And often I find that if you were to take that time, that energy that you had spent into pretending to be whatever it is that you were pretending to be, to get this person into bed, I'm so confused why you weren't just honest. And this is gonna harken back to what I said earlier, but honesty truly is the best policy for this kind of shit. And here's why. Give the other person the option. I'm giving you some free dating advice that isn't going to come from a weird dating coach who's wearing weird peacock feathers in his head.
A man named Mystery.
Give the other person the option of being able to be in on the joke. Hetero women are sexual too and want to engage in sexual activity. Oh, what? Yes, I know, surprise. They do though. But the thing is, if you're pretending, online or otherwise, that you're interested in a relationship when clearly you are not, you're creating problems for yourself that you don't actually have to have. So like a lot of these like dating coaches or pickup artist type people are encouraging you not to be honest. And I'm so confused as to why that would be the smart move. I'm like, no. Encourage the honesty, because not doing so is what leads to all of these super weird, very strange interactions between women and men that often end in like fighting, anger, yelling, texts that are out of hand, just things that nobody wants in their life. Like, I think you can understand why somebody would be more than a little emotional if they found out you were playing them. You know what I mean? Like, you have to understand that like somebody's not just trying to act out of their character and kind of lose themselves in anger. Like, that is not, or was not, their intention. That wasn't what they wanted. Truly what they wanted was for you to be honest, and what they got were lies. And of course they're upset. Of course they're upset, because they sat here pouring their heart out to you, thinking that, you know, you two were meeting a common ground and it was going to be so nice and so lovely. And they were just like, yay. And then really all of that bullshit and all of that sweet talk was to sleep with them. And this is the kind of shit that these pickup artists encourage.
Not to mention the inherent nature of treating and dating and obtaining a partner, a romantic partner, as a game doesn't make any sense at all. What do you win? Marriage? I don't feel like that's a win. But what I'm going to say is treating it as if it's a game that must be won, again, depersonalizes the very woman that you're trying to see, have sex with, or date.
Like, they're talking to you about body count, not connection. Now, again, I feel like I have to keep saying this. I'm not talking about the ones who are actually helping you with who you are as a person, helping you develop yourself. I'm talking about these weird dirtbags out here literally trying to tell men, like, to give women that they're not even in a relationship with, they're simply trying to secure a date, an ultimatum. Like, oh, if she cancels, then you do this next. That's not how it should be, and that's super weird. There's another word for it, but I'm trying not to use those words. But that's really weird behavior. Like, let me just tell you that the very moment that somebody tried to do some shit like that to me, like, no. Like, oh, well, if you cancel this date, then you're paying for our next one. And I would be like, and also, that kind of stuff, that kind of behavior shows a lack of maturity. Like, it shows that you do not have the maturity to actually take it upon yourself to talk to another human like they were human, behave with them like they're a deserving person, and interact in such a way that if a relationship were to, come to fruition, that it would be good for both of you. Instead, you're wearing clothes that you don't really need to, like that aren't your personality. And I would say this for both, for all of the genders, but this is mostly hetero male and men, and this is where we are today. But why would you wear clothing that doesn't reflect who you are as a person, doesn't show, ooh, I'm stuck in my comfy and I'm starting to sweat, but doesn't show your personality, doesn't show how interesting or funny that you are and can be? Like, why in the world would you be hiding who you really are as a person? What do you gain from that? Because at some point you're gonna have to be like yourself, right? And if you are looking for a meaningful relationship and not just a quick roll in the hay, when you have to turn around and be yourself, you have to ask, is this person going to like me for me? Listen, I know media and movies have tricked us into believing oh my God, there's gonna be a fight moment and the other person's gonna be like, no, I totally understand why you did that. That is not true, that is false. That's not it. That's not gonna happen in real life. In real life, you're not gonna come around and talk to me and do all these things and then just be a big fucking liar and then expect that after all of that, I'm just gonna turn and be like, no, I understand why you did that because I would not have lied to you about who I am, what I do as a job, all of these things, simply because I felt as a darker skinned person that I was undesirable. I'd really rather just tell you who I am. And why would I want to lie? What purpose does that serve? Now I'm going to have to spend the rest of my life with you, if we go that far, pretending to be this other person. And I just feel like that's so damaging for the men who are actively seeking an actual relationship, because they're getting this message falsely that this kind of behavior is not only what gets you laid, this is what gets the chicks, man. But it's also this weird statement of continuing the trend of not seeing women as humans. If you want a woman and a partner, if you just want to have sex, let them know. And please, with that bullshit, oh, women won't have sex with you if you tell, yes, they will. They will. They will have sex with you. They're just as sexual. They just don't want you to lie about it. You, however, don't want them having sex with somebody else because you want to be able to sit and have options and think about whether or not this is the person you want to continue to date, which is bullshit. We'll get into that in another video. But the reality of the situation is telling someone all I want is sex is fine. And if that's what they want too, great, have some sex, enjoy yourselves. But if that's not what they want, then allow them the choice at least. Allow them to at least make the choice. Hey, is this something I want to do? Because what I want is a relationship. Most importantly, I just think that it would make more sense to stop this weird mythology of I know what women want. You don't. If, one, you would have one. Two, if you don't have one, you don't know what they want. Each woman is different. That's the thing. And that's what I feel doesn't get talked about enough when these guys are, sorry about the light, when these guys are running amok is y'all are really out here talking about things that you think is this is what women want. I'm doing a thing. Just hang on. Just hang out for the thing that's happening here. But you all are really just thinking that you're so smart. Oh no, I know exactly what women want, and this is how you maneuver and manipulate them into giving what you want. And the thing is, we've been paying attention to this playbook as well. And a lot of us are just uninterested. Like I stated earlier, I'm yeah, that's why you won't see my goofy ass in any kind of situation with a straight man anymore. Why? Am I pan? Yes. Am I gonna be attracted to straight men? Yes. Will I date them? No. Because emotional maturity is very, very important to me. And I find that if you can't have that, if you can't have emotional maturity, if you can't have enough sense to realize that this kind of behavior whether you went to see one of these kinds of people or not, is just unacceptable. Viewing me through a lens of all women want roses means that you don't care about me as a person. It means you don't care about getting to know me. And that's something I just really can't have. Like, why are we dating if you're uninterested in knowing who I am? You know what I mean? Like, what's the point? I'm loving it. I'm sunburnt and stunning. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it. You're here for it. We're all here for it. We're all screaming for ice cream. All of that to really say, I think that it's seriously not hard to just view women as human beings. Stop listening to these dusty, musty dudes who, in all honesty, probably don't behave like that at all anyway. They do it for the clicks, they do it for the clout, but they know that if in real life they ever approach someone using this, like, they're not getting women. And I'm not even gonna say quality woman because I hate that phrasing. They're just not getting women. And you know, that ends up being really sad. Like, I'm sad for them in that regard because I'm like, you know, if you would just called a lay dollar bean. Anyway, also I stole that from TikTok if I haven't said that. All of that to say that in 2021, I think that we should have reached a point where a man can get dating advice, good dating advice, from a woman without being called a simp. A man can be feminist without trying to get in your pants. Like, I just feel like there is a level to which we can have nice things, you know? We can really have nice things and not have it be so difficult and so weird. You know, I talk to the person. And also going to these kinds of coaches that are only capitalizing on misogyny and honestly, in some cases, creep threat behavior, like threat level A behavior, is not good for you. I don't think it would be good for anyone, but specifically it's not good for you. You're trying to live your best life. You're trying to find someone whom you can spend time with, and it's time that's enjoyable for both of you. And instead of you getting that, you're getting this really weird, awkward situation with somebody who may or may not think you are cute. And it's like, did you ever stop to think that, like, some of your geek shit, somebody else is interested in your geek shit? Like, did you ever stop to think about that? Did you ever go like, you also like my geek shit? And they're like, yeah, I do like your geek shit. And then you like bond together on geek shit? Did you ever stop to think about that? No, you were too busy listening to this weird guy.
Across town at Kai Lounge, our expert panel of pick-up commentators with perspectives descending from the four corners of the male psyche.
And a lot of this stuff, like I said before, is quite harmful, and most importantly, it takes away from who you are as a human being. So I feel like for 2021, I guess, if I'm gonna do anything to be kind or nice to straight men and help them, I would say if you want help dating, it's time for you to seek out women. Talk to women. They will help you. In fact, that's your first assignment. Talk to a female friend or your sister, somebody who can help you and teach you that each woman is like a snowflake, different.
There's Alan, the cold, calculated master of pickup analysis.
And if your goal is in fact a relationship or even just being able to communicate better with others,
Peaches, an ex-all-star jock-inspired seduction specialist.
I think you would be better off with male coaches that actually if you're going to have a male coach, then speak to the ones that actually have a goal with your improvement in mind. Like, come on now.
Sheldon, the mysteriously coy and unorthodox philosopher.
Why would you want to be talking to somebody who has no goal of your actual self-improvement in mind and only really wants to help you get in ladies' pants? Because at some point when you want an actual relationship and they're not there for that, I mean...
And Chris, a hopelessly romantic man of integrity.
You only did it to yourself. Now you're gonna turn around, be alone, be like, what the fuck happened? And be like, mystery.
Together, they will closely critique each player's performance and crown a single champion.
So in conclusion, that is the conclusion. This is my final face. Things got a little out of hand. If you would, and you would want to shop at Midas, use my code. Gleefully put here, more shameless plugging. All right, so let's I'll have a picture up on Instagram because honestly, I just get weirded out doing the whole like. So instead of doing that, I hope that y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. That helps me greatly, more than you will ever know. Consider joining my Patreon. Consider following me on my socials. They're somewhere here. I put them somewhere. Consider following me on Twitch. I do weird things there. Not that weird, but you know, I don't have my face there because my face is here. So that's that. That is it. That is it. And as usual, huge shout out to my patrons, to a spooky babe. Yeah. All right, it costs $0 to be kind, and it's so good for your soul because if you don't take care of it, I'm sure it's all coming for yours. Until next time, XOXO. Got the girl. Oh shit. Not one of these. Gonna wait for him to finish making all that fucking noise. Fuck, if I had known it was this, I really would not have got it. I didn't really think about this when I did it, and now look at me. I can't ever open these goddamn packages. They just make them so fucking hot. Miserable ass bitch trying to get this hoe bag to work. Let's fix the light. Oh shit, is that magnetic? I'm rewinding this hoe bag, like, I fucking hate this. I'm just stuck here like a loser. Just can't even open it. Like, I should just always open it from the bottom because now I feel stupid. Who keeps doing this? Can we please punish them? Bitch! Minus? Punish him! There it is. Naughty every day. Naughty every day, Rocio.